you have said you want to make, may require legislation, is to eliminate cash bail. Is that something that's set in law the judges require, or is that something that you can recommend, no cash bail? How does that work? Do you need the law changed, or can you just make a policy?
Actually, a little bit of both. There's parts of the law that probably should be changed in terms of the presumptions of what does not, like who does not get released. But we've already started the work of not using cash bail. And when my assistants go into court and argue bond motions, we lay out the history of a case and an individual, but we don't just kick it to the judge to decide what to do. Then we actually make recommendations about what kind of conditions, if any, are we would recommend in order to ensure that the person comes back to court.
Well, for our listeners who may not have heard this before, why do you oppose cash bail?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Thank you for stepping back. Basically, I don't think that there should be a price tag on freedom. I don't think anybody should be locked up in jail simply because they can't afford to get out pending their trial. What that does, the system that we have, what it does is that it criminalizes poverty.
Our guest is Parisa Dehghani-Tafti. She's the Commonwealth's attorney for Arlington County and the City of Falls Church. She is a Democrat. You've also promised not to seek the death penalty. Why and how much discretion do you have with that?
Well, I have complete discretion in not charging. Well, I can charge a capital offense, but I can choose not to seek the death penalty. I can charge something as murder one rather than a capital offense. And the reason why I ran and the reason why I promised not to charge with the death penalty is because I don't think that the death penalty has any place in a civil society. And having worked on innocence cases, having seen the over 164 individuals out of the 2,400 and change who were on death row and proven innocent, I know that there are people who are sitting on death row right now who are innocent. I know that there are people who have been executed who are innocent.
Given that very serious concern about not executing an innocent person, what do you say then to the victims of crime, the family members, the associates, the people who are part of a horrific crime, maybe where they weren't killed, but family members were, people who are on death row? I remember one political person in the district went down to Lorton when it was still a prison, and he came back kind of shaken. He said, now I know why we have prisons. There are some really terrible people in the world, and they commit heinous, horrible crimes. So what do you say to the person who says that my family has been killed, this person deserves to die in a legal manner? What's your response to that emotional reaction to your position?
Right. Well, I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to, and I certainly would not be dismissive of that emotional response. And sort of not being in that situation across from somebody, it's hard to say sort of what set of facts I would draw on.
If my spouse were killed in some horrific crime, I might want to see the person who did it die.
I mean, that is a hours and weeks and months long conversation, and I think that you have to work towards sort of building a basis
Justice
of trust.
Is not retribution necessarily.
I mean, it can be. I mean, we have to consider retribution. We have to consider rehabilitation, and we have to consider making sure that somebody doesn't actually have the opportunity to go out and.
Because there's no chance for victims to be rehabilitated.
Got to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with